Hey everyone, welcome back. So today I'm just going to give a little bit of a state of the fleet update, looking at what fleets we have in the game, how many we have, and some of my thoughts on that. I'll dive a little bit deeper into my personal fleets and what I'm working on maybe in another video, but I just wanted to kind of see where this game stands when it comes to fleets. Again, fleets in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is super important in my opinion, whether you're a pay-to-pay player, whether you're a free-to-play player. This is where you can get a lot of crystals every day from Fleet Arena, so you can get 300 to 400 per day, making top five. I would say in Fleet Shards, where there's I think 1,000 different people that are part of that Fleet Shard, and most you should have not really a problem climbing up to the top if you've been focusing on fleets pretty early on in the game. If you haven't been, really you need to reevaluate what you're working on and probably put some more focus into that, whether that's going for executor, whether that's going for profundity, or whether that's going for the big new one, Leviathan. So let's take a look now at what are the different fleets, or what are the what are the capital ships that we have in this game. So if you look through what's available, um, there's 11 capital ships that are now in the game. Okay, 11. Does that mean that we have 11 full fleets? No, not really. We could probably make 10 fleets, I would say. 11 is not really possible. But if you think about it, for Grand Arena, if you're in Kyber, so at the Kyber 1 to Kyber 5, you need three fleets on defense. You need three fleets on offense. So you need six. So you're using just over half of the available fleets in the game, assuming that you're going to one shot everything. So you have some extra there. If you're in Erodium Chromium, you need a total of four, so two defense and two for offense. So only, again, four fleets out of these 11. I have a feeling that in the very near future, we're going to see that the fleet requirements within Grand Arena start to increase. Most likely in Kyber will be bumped to four, so you'll need eight total. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Erodium and Chromium bumped up to three on defense and three on offense. Maybe just Erodium, but basically that's CG telling us that fleets are important. You need to go after them. Again, it should be important anyway, even outside of Grand Arena, because you need them for your daily fleet crystals, which is the easiest way to get crystals. And then obviously, the higher you are, if you're in Kyber, you're getting more crystals per day. And having good fleets on defense, having good fleets on offense to beat whatever they set on defense is key. So let's take a look at these 11 fleets that we have. Just first starting with the capital ship. So we have the big three. So we have Executor and Profundity. Everybody, hopefully you have Executor already. If not, you're close to finishing it. If you're a newer account, this should be the first thing that you're going for. It's going to put you ahead in Fleet Arena. It's relatively an easy farm. Obviously, needing some Relic 8 characters for a very new account might be a bit of a stretch, but there's ways to get that. And then Profundity, most players now, I think in Kyber that I see have both of these. And then the other one, the newest one, is Leviathan. Again, if you're someone that's in one of the top guilds, if you're a whale, you probably have this already. I'm currently working on this, just working on relic levels for the characters, but it's not something, if you're a new account, you should be going for. It's really gated by conquest due to both a character and a ship, and the relic levels required are quite steep. But you have those big three, followed by, let's say, the get two fleets, Malevolence and Negotiator. Again, these are things that you should be saving your get to currency from guild events to use on first before spending it on gear. So theoretically, if you're building up these over the first year of your account, within the first year, you should be able to have Executor, Malevolence, and Negotiator. Maybe not all of them at 7 stars, but at usable levels. After those five that we just talked about, I would say that the next tier is your finalizer, your Chimera with some of the adjustments that it's made, or Chimera slash Executrix are probably kind of in the same depending on what ships you have. Again, Finalizer is a fleet. If you're a newer account and you have SLKR as your first Galactic Legend, you're going to have the Finalizer fleet. So, assuming that you start going for Executor, you're using your Get 2 on these Malevolence and Negotiator, and then you're farming SLKR within the first year and a half, 2 years of your account, you should have four good fleets where you can then set, a fleet like Executor on defense, Negotiator on defense in Grand Arena, and still have counters. If someone were to set both of those same fleets, Finalizer can counter Executor, and Malevolence can counter Negotiator. So after the Finalizer, Chimera, Executrix, then you kind of have, I would say, Home One and Radis. Home One can kind of go up a tier depending on what you're able to save and use with it, depending if you have Profundity or not. Radis, I personally don't have. I haven't gone foray, but can be an okay fleet, can be a cleanup fleet. And then lastly, you have Endurance, which is just garbage. Um, and if we look at, Galactic Republic ships, since we have a negotiator, which is taking most of the good ones, we have what, eight total ships. Eight total ships between two fleets just really isn't going to work. You're going to need most of these for negotiator, meaning Endurance basically doesn't have enough ships to function. Me personally, what I would use Endurance for is when I was trying to do the two-shot counter for Executor and Grand Arena, I would send Endurance in with like some fast ships like Poe's X-Wing just to try to get the Houndstooth to taunt. Then everybody would die on my team. And then I would go in with Malevolence and I would be able to basically beat Executor because Houndstooth, the taunt ability was on cooldown. So um, that's where we stand. Endurance, out of these 11 fleets, we have basically 10 usable fleets. Again, like I said, in Kyber, you're using 6 of the 10. So don't be surprised if we see CG increase the requirements for fleets within Grand Arena to 8, which again still gives most people, if you have to use 8, most people that are in Kyber, they have 8 or more already. Maybe they don't have all of them at 7 stars. Maybe they're still working on Leviathan, but I think it's good. So let's look a bit at how you can split some of these fleets. My thoughts again, I have of these ones shown. Typically, what I see in Kyber 2, Kyber 3, people are setting Executor on defense. People are setting Negotiator, maybe Finalizer, maybe Chimera Executrix. Usually they're saving their Malevolence. Usually they're saving their Profundity. Sometimes they save Executor for offense as well and just set garbage. Uh, but what I try to do is, I try to set, Executor usually, Negotiator usually, and then uh, Finalizer or Chimera myself, usually Chimera on defense. And that leaves me with an offense of Malevolence, which can counter a lot of things, Profundity, which can be an easy counter to Executor or pretty much anything else. Or Finalizer, if I take one offense, can also counter Executor if I want. Obviously, the rate's not as good, or I can use Finalizer for a mirror match, etc. But I wanted to show you something that, again, what I put out in the last video, mainly on Profundity. So how I kind of split these again. For me, needing 6 fleets. If we look through here, kind of how I have it organized, I have Executor with 2 reinforcements. These are the only 2 I need. There's no need to set. Obviously, I'm going to give away some free banners if I set it like this, but I don't want to set ships that are going to get called in to reinforce where I prefer these 2 to come in. So I'm just setting with these 2 reinforcements. Same thing with Negotiator. I could put Clone Sergeant here, but I prefer that Plo or Rex or Fives come out. I typically set my defense with Ahsoka instead of Fives, just because this makes the Malevolence counter a bit harder. Because Fives would usually target the Vulture Droid, which would give a turn meter, which then you can put buff immunity on Anakin. With this, that doesn't happen. Plus, Ahsoka can give retribution. And then I have, again, Chimera, Executrix. It depends on what you have as far as Empire ships. These are the ones I have, not high gear levels yet on my Iden and what is it, second sister, seventh sister, one of those 2, but they will come. Um, I don't have Palpatine shuttle. I don't have Gauntlet Starfighter. I don't have the Scythe. So once I have those ships, then I think legitimately you could have a Chimera fleet and an Executrix fleet that will be worthwhile. But basically that's 3 fleets there. Malevolence, again, same thing. Don't need to put all the reinforcements. Finalizer, um, I typically would run it like this. If I'm going to counter Executor with Finalizer, then I would probably Since I leave my Plo with Negotiator, I would probably put here Cassian's Y-Wing just to give a D-spell and a mass assist. But otherwise, use it like this. So that brings us to what, 5 fleets. Profundity is number 6. But then again, if I wanted to split my rebels into 2 fleets, I could do it this way, where I basically don't take Hans Falcon with Profundity. I leave it here with kind of the original Hans Falcon, Biston, Biggs, Cassian, and Wedge to reinforce. Now, obviously, Raven's Claw is better with Home 1, um, but because I have the Falcon there, I don't really need Raven's Claw there. I just keep it for some extra support under Profundity. So that's 7 fleets, and then Leviathan, like I said, is coming. The ships are done, just working on characters. So that's 8. So that gives 8 where I need 6. I think if CG were to increase the requirements to having to set 4 on defense, 4 on offense, I would still be in pretty good shape. Yes, I would have to probably use this split. Um, but what I'm not showing here is I also have Executrix. Again, not high gear levels. I'm missing a couple of those ships, but I'm farming them. Just haven't geared the characters. So I think with those added on, even if I have to 2-shot a couple things, I think it's doable. But that's where we stand. Like I said, again, overall, if we look at the number of fleets in the game, there's 11. Let's call it 10 that are really usable. Um, Again, once you get to Kyber, most people are going to have those. Maybe in Chromium or Rhodium, people are going to have 6 or 7 of those, working on some of the others. But fleet continues to be important in this game. Whether you're a brand new account, whether you're a longtime player, you really have to stay on top of it. When Leviathan came out, if you're in a shard that's 6, 7 years old, everybody is going to be rushing this, getting it in the first 3 months. Basically once they have those conquest characters. So you had to rush it. It's still, they're working out some bugs. It's still easily countered by Profundity. I think it will still be countered by Profundity in the future, just maybe not as easy. So again, if you're not someone that has access to those conquest characters or ships, if you're still like 100+ shards away, focus on Profundity. Like, it's a great fleet. It counters Executor super easy. It counters anything else in the game. You can counter Leviathan. Right now, you don't even need reinforcements for that. I think that will change, but it will still be a viable counter. So go for that. You need only 1 relic 9, a couple of relic 8s, which is way fewer than what you need for Leviathan. So it's a much cheaper, while still expensive, it's a much cheaper farm than Leviathan. So that's kind of where we stand overall. I think in the next video, I'll dive a bit more into again, the fleets that I have and how I can improve these. I think if you look, most of my ships are and characters are kind of at the relic requirements to unlock GLs or other characters. So they're not at high relics. I don't think, when Negotiator and Malevolence were kind of the meta, the higher relics obviously helped you with the speed. Don't really need that anymore. So there's some things I wouldn't do. But for example, my Geos, while Malevolence still works fine, these are Gear 12 Geos. It would be even better if they were at Gear 13 and mid-range relic. So um, I'll kind of dive into what I'm thinking as far as maybe increasing some levels on some of these characters and what I'm currently working on, how I see that panning out. But like I said, don't be surprised if in the near future we start seeing more fleets needed for Grand Arena. Personally, I'm all for it. I think if you're someone that's focused on fleets early on and you continue to focus on fleets, it will give you a leg up when you're going against your opponent. You can either stonewall them by setting an incredibly tough fleet defense, or taking yours on offense and clearing whatever they have, and hopefully they don't have enough to clear you. If you have something set up like this, you can still set a pretty good defense, Executor, Negotiator, some complicated things like this, fleets that will steal banners, while still having counters for everything that they could set. So I'm hoping they change this, but stay tuned. Let's see. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and remember to like and subscribe. I think it's down there now, the little icon. Um, but anyway, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.